Hi Not Board Gamers, and welcome back to Not Board Gaming. I'm your host, I'm Mark. Now in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a game which hits Kickstarter. Very nice people over at 8 Games have sent me through a preview copy of The Comic Book Bubble by Scott Almes. You know Scott Almes, Gary Hansen with the Tiny Epic stuff, and the recently released So You've Been Eaten, which has just been released to Kickstarter backers. Now this is a comic book trading game, and it's essentially you work in the comic book market to try and make as much money as possible by the end of your 4th year. Apparently in the early 90s, now I'm not a huge comic book fan, but in the early 90s there was a boom in the comic book industry or comic book market, should I say, and prices were going all over the place. People really took hold of comic books, and eventually that bubble burst somewhat. But of course, comic books are still very much a desired commodity for people. So in this game, which plays 1 to 5 players, you are going to be buying and selling comics and trying to earn as much money as possible by buying them at the right price and then selling them at a better price. And the market is going to shift as you play the game. So it plays 1 to 5 players, and obviously I'm going to focus on the solo game here, and it is a surprisingly simple game to play. But it's a lot of fun. Now, as I say, I've got no interest in real interesting comic books. I love the artwork on there, but that's really about it. There'll be people out there watching this who know far more about comic books than I do. And you're going to go through kind of various stacks of decks, and you're going to buy cards, and you're going to sell cards, and you're going to speculate on the market to push certain aspects of the market up. You see, each card that you see, and you look at some of these artwork on these cards, it's utterly fantastic. Some of the kind of fake comic books are on here, but you can see they've got various symbols on there. So let's just pull a few out here. So we got, let's pull these out. So you can see here that they've all got various symbols on, which are these over here. And these are going to dictate the price of the card on the market itself. And that is going to move throughout the game as you and the AI speculate in the market. And the aim, as I say, is to try and buy the comics at the right time, sell them so you get more money from them. And then it's a beat your own score game at the end of the game. You've got to try and get as much money as possible. And let me tell you, it's not that easy to actually achieve. So simple to play. In fact, there are only 3 actions that you can take in the game, and then the AI for the solo is going to speculate on the market for you both as well. You may speculate at that point as well. It's only 3 actions, and a game is going to take you around about 25 to 30 minutes. So simple to set up, so easy to play, and so much fun to play for somebody who has no interest in comic books at all. I'm really liking the mechanisms in here and the way that they've used some of the mechanisms from the multiplayer game, i.e. in the multiplayer game there's a drafting mechanism. Here it works slightly different, obviously in the solo game, works so well. So without much further ado, I'll show you kind of an overview of what it is, take you through a round or two of the comic book bubble, and then share my thoughts at the end of the video. So let's dive in and show you what's on hand here. So here we can see the game set up for the solo game. Now I do want to say first of all, obviously it's a prototype. These aren't the final assets. I'm hoping that the main board is going to have a bit more on there, but I do love, as I mentioned, some of the artwork on these cards. I think, you look at some of these cards and they're utterly stunning, these kind of fake comic books that are on there. And you could spend all day just looking through those cards. So for the solo game, the first thing you're going to do, for any game, is you have these different coloured markers here. And if you look here, there's a star on this here, on this place here, number 4. And you're going to place those moving up randomly on the board. And they're going to determine the space on the market. So you can see up here, orange is at the bottom, then it's purple, then it's green, then it's red, then it's blue, then it's yellow. My dog just lost his mind at the postman. So yeah, that sets the space of the market there, and they will change at the end of each turn. Not the end of each year, but the end of each turn. There's a speculate action that happens, and that will change the positions of those, thus giving you this kind of market dynamic where the various comic books or the various symbols are going to move up and down the board accordingly. You have the main deck here, which is going to deal these cards out here. I'll explain what they are in a second. And in the solo game, you're going to have a stack of 18 cards, which is the solo deck. And that's what the AI is going to use to speculate from as well. Now, to mimic the card drafting that happens in the main game, you're going to deal 4 lots of 3 cards out face down, okay? and that's one for each year. So you're going to take a turn each year, and I say it plays over 4 years there, and I'll explain how that works in a second. Down here you have your action board. There are a number of starting cards that you're going to start with. You'll deal out 3 to yourself and then choose 2 of them. So I've chosen these 2, and as you can see I've got purple and yellow here, so 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, and green and purple, so 2 next to each other there. So potentially a kind of a situation, if I wanted to sell this one, I could potentially earn $6, $7 from that one. I'm going to start the game also with $20 just here, and down here on the board are the 3 actions that you can take. The first action you can take is you can buy a card. So when you take a card from here and you draft your card from there, you can choose the option to buy it, and you're going to pay the price of whatever is in the market. There's a minimum buy price of $1. So if I'm getting a card with a orange symbol on there, I'm still going to have to pay a dollar for it. And when you buy a card, you put it up here. Now, buying precludes you from selling at the end of your turn as well. So it's very important to buy, but you've got to know that you then can't sell, so you have to factor that in. The next is superpower. You see on each card, down at the bottom, there is this here, and you can take the card and use its superpower. So for example, this one says that I would move the highest placed token anti-clockwise 5 places. So if you look here, the highest placed token there is the yellow token. So that would mean I would skip over all of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you can see it's changed the space on the board now. So the highest at the end of the speculate round here would now be, instead of being yellow, it would be blue, pink, green, yellow, purple, orange. So all of these cards have superpowers at the bottom. Let's just pull a few more off here, and that's how you use them. So that one says sell a comic book immediately, so that's good. You can move these genres to the other side of the market and switch places with them. So you can see on here, you've got these little arrows. That means you can move them, so you can move them from going down to up or vice versa if you want to manipulate the market that way. And there's loads of superpowers on here, and you don't know which one is going to come out, of course. When you've done the superpower action, say when you buy, you're going to put it above your board. There's only 3 slots. Superpower, you put in the discard. Finally, the speculate action. This is where you try to manipulate the market. To speculate, you choose one of the cards that the card that you've taken from there, and we'll not look at that just yet. And you can see it's got symbols here. There's 2 blue and 2 purple. So I'd put that in speculate. The AI would also put a card in speculate there. You tot up those symbols and you'd move them in this order. So blue, pink, yellow, purple, orange, green. So say for example, these were the 2 speculate cards here. So if we look here, blue would move up 2, 1, 2. Then the next one is pink, there's no pink. Then there's a yellow, no yellow. Then there's a purple, purple would move up 3, 1, 2, 3. And then orange would move up 1, so that would move to there. And then green would move up 1. And then at the end of speculate, what you're going to do is you're going to change the market accordingly. So here we've got, it's blue, then yellow, then purple. There we go. Then green, then pink, and then orange. So that's how that would work effectively there. I've got to remember which order these were moved in now, so do bear with me a second on this. It doesn't really matter, I'll just put them back in this particular order. So there we go. So this, I'm going to reset the market now, so we can start afresh. And then it's green, and then it's pink, and then it's orange. So that's the market. As I say, it's randomized at the beginning anyway. So that's how the speculate action would work, and then you would discard both of those cards into there. Now when you speculate, what happens is you put your card on there and the AI would put 1 card on there. If you don't take the speculate action, the AI is going to put 2 of its cards on there and put them in there. Now when you take your cards for the beginning of the round, and we'll look at this now, there are 3 cards for each year there. You can look, turn them over and have a look at which one you want to take and what actions you want to take off there. So for example, these are cards that if I was to buy them would cost me a lot of money. It cost me 12 plus yellow, so 2 times 6 for the blue there, 2 times 4 there, so that's 8, 12. So that would cost me all my money to buy that particular card. But of course, if I'm buying it now and I put it in there, it means obviously I couldn't sell it at that top price, so I have to wait for a later year to do that. So these are the cards that I can take. So let's see what we can do then. We can lock the orange, we can move the blue and the yellow to the other side, or we can lock that, or we can use it as a speculate action. So let's try to use it as a speculate action. So what you do is you choose the card that you want to do. Let's get that orange moving up, I think. Yeah, so you discard the last two to the solo deck, so they're going to go into the solo deck for the next go, which means you then have a decent idea, or you start building an idea of what's going to come in there. So that's the card I've chosen to use, and I'm going to use the speculate action on there, so I'll put that on the board. The AI is going to do that, and look at that. There we go. So the AI is going to, with this, we've got 4 blues, so we'll move 1, 2, 3, 4 to there. We've got 1 orange, which moves all the way to there. So now I need to change the board. And what I can do is have a look. Orange goes up to the top. Then it's yellow. Then it's blue. Then it's purple. Then it's green. And then it's pink. There we go. So those cards go into the discard pile now. Now, because I didn't take a buy action, what that means is I could effectively sell one of my cards. You're going to sell one at the end of the round. So if we look here, I've got a yellow and a purple. So that would give me $6 there, or a yellow and a green would give me $5 there. So let's sell this card, okay? So we're going to sell the yellow and the purple there. There we go, and you're going to put that back there, down there, and that's going to give me yellow, purple, $6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. That is the end of the first turn for the first round. So it's 4 goes each round for each year. So now we're going to move on to turn number 2. So we've got the new market set in place, and here are the new cards here. So what we got? We've got 2 greens and a blue there with an action to move the blue across and increase that. We've got 3 yellows, that would cost me 12, or 2 purples, that would cost me $4, or 2 greens, it'd cost me $2 plus a blue, $5. So that one the blue is on the way down, as you can see. I might be well doing this particular one here. So we'll put those there and we'll buy that card. And 2 purples means I spend $4. So I'll put 5 in, take $1 back. Of course, that means we can't sell a card this round. But what we can do is we can speculate now. And here we go. So because I'm not speculating, both of the cards come from the AI's deck. And again, in order. There are 2 blues. So move blue 2, 1, 2. Then what's next? A pink. There is a pink. So the pink can go up to there. Then yellows. There's 1 yellow. So the yellow is going to go to there. Then we move to purple. There's 1 purple. That will move up to there. Then we go to orange. There's 2 orange. 1, 2. And as I say, you skip over when you're speculating. And then finally, a green. There's 2 greens. So 1, 2. And look at this. We have a very, very different market now. Suddenly, pink is up at the top. Then it's green. Sorry, then it's yellow. Then it's green. Then it's purple. Then it's orange. And then it's blue. So where blue was at the top of the market previously, it's obviously down at the bottom of the market now. So now I can think about selling. Do I want to sell anything? So if I sold this one here with 2 purples, that would give me $4. And if I sold this one here, that would give me, well, I can't though, can I? Because I bought that, so I can't sell here. So yeah, that's that particular go done. So we've seen the markets changed. On to turn 3 of year 1. Okay, so what we got here. At the end of the round, sell as many comic books as you wish. Okay, so purple has a good chance there, and green is up near the top. I'm going to use the superpower on that one, I think, so it gives me an opportunity to sell them. Let's see what the market is going to speculate on. Just look at this comic book art here. Look at this. Moon Girl. Fantastic. So we're going to take 2 from there. 1, 2. And there we go. Oh, bad choice, Mark. Bad choice. So we start here. Red is going to move 1, 2. Yeah. And then we move on to what's next on there. I think purple is the next. Move 3. 1, 2, 3. Oof. I'm going to not make anything on there at all. And then we move to green, and green is going to move up there. So if I did that now, wouldn't really get anything from selling those comic books. It's no good to me at that point. So we're going to put that in the discard pile, put those 2 there. My idea is kind of speculating on the market didn't really work. Now, final turn of year 1. Look how easy it is to play. It's so easy to play. Right, this is orange. I could buy orange here and it sells for more than $3 at the value at the end of this round. I don't have any orange on there, so the superpower's no good. I could move the orange up to there and use that superpower, but I don't have any orange cards. Or I could knock back purple 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's use that superpower on that, okay? So that's what we're going to do. That's my turn done. We're going to speculate on the market now. Fudge. Okay, this really hasn't worked out for me. So pink is going to move first. 1, 2, down to there. Then it's going to be purple. That's going to go 3. 1, 2, 3. Not good. And then orange is going to move 1. If I use my superpower, which gives me the ability to move that up 4 spaces, actually that could work well there. Yeah, so we'll put that there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's change the market. So we have green, then we have yellow, then we have purple, then we have orange. I forgot to change the market on the last go. Then we have blue, then we have pink. So my purple is now worth $3. I've got this here with 2 purples on it. That means I can sell that, put that into there, and I'm going to get $6 back from the back end of that. That is year 1 done. There we go. So those get discarded there. These, the cards I didn't use, get added into the solo deck, and you shuffle those. Okay, there we go. So that's going to form the solo deck for the next game. Then I'm going to deal out 2, 3, 4, 3 cards per turn for each go on the next year. That goes back onto there. I'm going to move all this across to year 2. There we go. And we would start the process again. Now down here are the cards I've sold. You see, at the end of the game, they could earn you more points, basically. But I'll explain how scoring works. Yeah, I'll do that now, in fact. So at the end of the game, you're going to tot up all of the symbols that you've got, basically, and see who's got the most symbols and where that symbol is on the end scoreboard. So, for example, here we go. If I was scoring purple at the moment, and I had more symbols than the AI, you're going to go through the entire deck that the AI's got there, and I had more symbols, and currently purple is in 3rd place. So purple, I would score $20 additional for that, but it's very difficult because this AI starts to build up that deck nicely. As you see, it gets 2 cards every go. It could discard 1 to 2 cards every go on its speculate action there. Which means that if you're speculating, it's only going to discard 1 card, which means it's building up more in its deck and potentially going to usurp you at the end of the game. At the end of the game, as I say, you'd add up all your cash. You'd find out if you've got more, excuse me, the majority symbols here. If you got the majority symbols, you would get the approximate either benefit or disbenefit, depending on where it is at the end of the game. You check it against the scorecard and you would find out if you've won. You saw there that a full year takes all of about 5 minutes to play through. It's so quick and such a fun game to play. And that is how it plays. So quick, so fast, so easy to play, and manipulating this market is a pure joy. The fact that you're kind of trying to work out when is the best point to buy the cards with the right symbols. Am I doing it at the right time? Am I maximizing on it? Should I be buying a card to sell later? Should I be using a superpower? Do I need to speculate and move the market further than what the AI is going to move on its own? The AI is a breeze to use. You're literally speculating with it, or choosing cards and speculating with it, and that is it. But it adds a wonderful dynamic, an unknown dynamic into there. You don't know what symbols are going to come out of there. I think on a game like this, it has to have an easy to run AI, and it beautifully, beautifully does. As I say, the game plays in around about 20 to 25 minutes for a solo game, and I quite happily play 3 or 4 games of this on the bounce, just having fun, trying to work out the best strategies. Scoring wise, my strategies haven't worked for me as of yet. They're getting better, But it's a pretty difficult game to master, definitely. Now, I don't know whether you could then make the game more difficult, starting with less cash. That would certainly make your beginning game more difficult, but the random nature of the deck means that you'd never know what's truly going to come out of there. As I say, you kind of know from the cards that you're drafting here how that solo deck is building up, and if you've got enough smarts, you kind of know roughly what could be in there for the speculate action and how the market could be speculated and could be adjusted, but you can't guarantee because you've got that stack of cards coming out of there. Now, I'm going to be honest, when they approached me about this game, about covering the comic book bubble, I thought, yeah, it sounds interesting. It's not really my bag. Say comic books, as much as I love the artwork, I don't really invest any time into comic books. So it was a sense of trepidation that I started playing it. And after the first game, I was blown away by the simplicity, by the challenge that's here, by the amount of fun I was having as well. I think it's just an easy to learn, fun game. And I can see this being a lot of people's favourite kind of jam to take to the pub, to take to coffee shops, as a starter or a filler game for a night, a gaming night with friends or at the board game club. You know, as a solo player, say 20-25 minutes, multiplayer 1 to 5 players, probably once everybody knows it, 30, 35, 40 minutes maximum, something like that. Probably even quicker once as long as you're not suffering from AP, basically. And I think, yeah, it's a joy. You know, in terms of what I potentially don't or would like to see improve so far, certainly the artwork on the board, it's a little bit basic at the moment. And I say it's not the final assets on there, and I'd like to see it kind of marry up to some of this wonderful artwork that's on these cards. I think, you know, that is utterly beautiful. I think what Scott's done here is create a game of market manipulation, of trading, of buying and selling and drafting, which any one of those may not have worked as a solo game. And by simplifying the mechanisms here, he's created a game that is a joy to play. I think if you once it's launched on Kickstarter, say I don't have a Kickstarter date yet, but I can't imagine that this is going to be a very, very costly game. There's no IP in here. But once it launched on Kickstarter, if this idea, comic books, market manipulation, a quick game that can be played on your own or with other people appeals to you, then you really need to be checking out the comic book bubble. What I would really like to see as well, I can only imagine it happening, is that some people are going to do reskinnings of this game and they're going to start using Marvel or DC comics and really making it their own. I think for me, the game benefits from not having an IP attached to it. I'm all marvelled out, if you like. But for people that like it, you could literally put any kind of comic book in here, and it would utterly work as long as you're replicating kind of the gameplay. And the gameplay will stay the same. The artwork assets that you put on there are going to be completely up to you. But I think it's a stunning game. And it says on the back, here we go, buy comics when the price is low. Use superpowers to manipulate the market and sell your comics to make your fortune, it says on the back. If only I could make a fortune from it. It's 1 to 4 players, sorry, not 1 to 5 players. So there we go. That is Comic Book Bubble, or The Comic Book Bubble from Scott Almes and 8 Games. It is 1 to 5 players. Yeah, 1 to 5 players, age 10 plus, 45 minutes a game, it says on there. An utter joy to play. Make sure you keep an eye out for this when it's coming on Kickstarter, because I think, you know, for me, it's a game that you're not going to want to miss. It's a real joy to play. So thank you very much for joining me on this pretty brief journey through the comic book bubble, the solo version of it from Scott Almes and 8 Games. My name's Mark. This is Not Board Gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out our other videos. And one final thought. If you can't find anyone else to play with, there's nothing wrong with playing with yourselves. Until next time, bye-bye.